Heyo. The audio in this video was a bit staticky. Honestly, I don't particularly know why, but I'm kind of working on borrowed time here, so I don't exactly have the luxury to go back and record all like 15 minutes of audio. I would like to, but unfortunately in this case time is not my friend, so sorry for the way the audio sounds a bit naff. Hopefully it'll be better next time. Who knows? It might even be a problem with this microphone, and if this audio sounds staticky, that's probably why. Sorry again. Have fun. And we're back. Let's waste no time and just jump into the changes I'd make to Pokemon X and Y to improve them. I only have 2 hours left before I need to start my dissertation on ornithology, which I do need to submit tomorrow. I have really bad photo planning skills. Anyway, I'll be doing a cheeky repetition so those who missed the first video aren't completely lost. Let's go! To start with, let's look at our colourful collection of characters and what I'd change about them to make them more interesting, endearing, and important to the story. Let's start with... In X and Y, Shauna, Tierno, and Trevor act as the minor rivals in comparison to Caleb/Serena. Shauna appears much less in Caleb/Serena, and Tierno and Trevor even less than Shauna. The three of them, mostly due to their lacking appearances compared to Caleb/Serena, have undefined and one-note personalities and character traits. If you take a look at this handy little pie chart, you'll see that out of the 10 one-on-one rival battles in X and Y, 50% of them are with Caleb/Serena, whilst the other 3 have to share the other 50%. Comparing X and Y to other Pokemon games with multiple rivals, in Black and White, Sharon and Bianca have equal screen time to flesh out their personalities, dreams, and desires. The same can be said for Sword and Shield, which handles its 3 main story rivals, Hop, Marnie, and Bede, just as well, which is quite impressive as there are 3 to handle rather than 2. Giving Shauna, Tierno, and Trevor some of Caleb/Serena's screen time would help make them more defined and let them show off more of their unique characteristics. Lysander is the secret leader of Team Flare and tag magnate behind the creation of the Holocaster, which is like the Apple Watch, but without the planned obsolescence. Diantha is the champion of the Kalos region and a critically acclaimed film star. Both of them have 2 things in common. 1. They appear sparsely throughout the story. 2. They have a deep personal relationship with Professor Sycamore, the lead Pokemon researcher of the Kalos region. There is a single interaction for each pair, and they mention each other from time to time. But in the paraphrased words of Franklin Richards, they had so much potential. Integrating them into each other's stories would, in a similar way to Shauna, Tierno, and Trevor, give them more character and make them more developed. For example, Diantha and Sycamore could accompany the player to Team Flare's hideout, trying their damnedest to turn their friend away from his genocidal plan, appealing to his good nature, which would all be for naught as the player needs to defeat him and win the day. Individually, Lysander's ideals regarding his want for perfection leading to his misanthropic desire to rid the world of ugliness, and Diantha's feeling of potential within the player and her champion status could be bolstered with their presence being increased. Malva is a member of both the Elite Four and Team Flare, as well as the sole newscaster of the Kalos region. In cases where evil people controlled the media, like in 1984 and communist regimes, they try to influence the people through their honeyed words. This doesn't occur with Malva, who just acts like a normal newscaster. Having Malva slip some ideas and suggestions that go along with Team Flare's ideals would make her a greater force in Team Flare, making more sense of her higher ranking in the organisation, as well as a more interesting character. The acknowledgement of Malva's being in Team Flare only occurs when you fight her after already beating the League, and during the post-game in which she appears fleetingly. Having Malva appear with Lysander early in the game, having grunts of her not by name, or at least having her mention it when you fight her for the first time when you challenge the League, would make her presence more relevant to the story. It'd be like if you entered a snooker tournament, and after beating Ronnie O'Sullivan, only after the competition discovered what's talking to him in the break room that he was in the EDL, which, for legal reasons, I have to say is a joke. Ronnie O'Sullivan is not part of the EDL. To my knowledge anyway. Xerosic is a scientist of Team Flare, and the main antagonist of X and Y's post-game. He appears in Lysander Lab towards the end of the game, giving the player a false choice of buttons to press to save the world, as well as toward the end of the post-game. Considering the fact that Xerosic is the only male scientist, as well as the head honcho of the post-game, you'd think he'd be in a great rank within Team Flare. In actuality, he gets the least screen time out of all the 5 scientists in the main game. You fight each of the other 4 scientists, Aliana, Bryony, Celosia, and Mabel, twice. Once in a different location, and once in Lysander Lab towards the end of the game. In the one piece of official art depicting the Team Flare scientists, Xerosic is centered and seems to be in charge, as seen as his stern stance, his pointed hand, the other scientists surrounding him, and Celosia having her hand on his shoulder. Xerosic clearly has a lot of ambition and passion for what he wants to accomplish, but his position in Team Flare doesn't represent this. To rectify this, I would make Xerosic part of what I'm calling the Team Flare Triumvirate, consisting of Lysander, Malva, and Xerosic. Lysander would be the leader, with Malva and Xerosic acting as his vice leaders, like Jafar, but with substantially better fashion sense. This would make Xerosic a more defined character, and make his turn into the main villain for the post-game more understandable. AZ is the former king of Carlos, creator of the Ultimate Weapon, at the end of the Collusion War 3000 years prior to when the game's story takes place. He had a Floette, a gift from his departed mother, as his closest friend which was taken from him and forced to fight in the war. His Floette would die in the conflict, and in his anguish he would set about constructing a machine most powerful. He used this crystalline creation, fueled by the life force of Pokemon, to resurrect his friend, giving him a more gothic look in the process. However, this would not fix the overwhelming feeling of despair within him, so he decided to turn his miracle machine into an actual weapon, the Ultimate Weapon, and use it to destroy both sides. Floette was so disgusted over all the Pokemon that died that left AZ. It seemed to find the mass murder of both armies okay though. Fine with war crimes, not so much with mass slaughter. Weird place to draw the line, but okay. AZ's changes are less drastic compared to the characters I've covered beforehand. His backstory is fleshed out, but he has little to do in the main story. I'd have him appear more frequently throughout the story, have his reveal of him being the creator of the Ultimate Weapon be a more significant event, have him assist the player to make up for his past sins, which would make it more understandable that his Floette came back to him. The gameplay of X and Y is often said to feel a bit sluggish. Similarly to Diamond and Pearl, the health bar, move animations, and overall feel of the game feels like it moves much slower in comparison to the games that came before and after. To fix this, all you need to do is make the same changes already made in Platinum, increase the speed of the UI, the player movements, and the in-battle animations. In X and Y, there is a lot of unnecessary content from the Kanto region, which makes the game feel less unique. You are given a Kanto starter, which due to nostalgia and the new Mega Evolutions, takes a lot of focus away from the Kalos starters in their own game. Mewtwo shows up in a pissed random cave in the post-game, just like in Kanto, along with a Snorlax which you must wake up with a Poké Flute, and Santalune Forest is just Viridian Forest with a new coat of paint. Toning down the nostalgia pandering would let X and Y have its own identity, rather than clinging to the past like a vengeful spectre. A way to do this is to move the gift Kanto starter to the post-game, and remove the Snorlax event and Mewtwo altogether, as they serve no real purpose. Nostalgia-baiting content is one thing, but supplementing it with Kalos content would keep X and Y Kalos focused. For example, rather than being given a Kanto starter from Professor Sycamore, you could be given a rare and late Collusion Pokemon, such as a Goomy or a Noibat, or a closing Pokemon with a hidden ability, like a Gale Wings Fletchling or Adaptability Skrelp. You could also have a homage to the Snorlax encounter, rather than a plain replay of it. Replace it with an angry Pangoro you need to calm down, or a restless Pyro you can tame. When it comes to replacing Mewtwo, have a Collusion Pokemon live in the Unknown Cave, such as Diancie, how to function as an event location even, make it more interesting, mysterious, and most importantly, Carlos focused. The composition of the teams in X and Y are a big point of contention. They are the primary reason why X and Y are deemed to be too easy by many. To rectify this issue, I would revamp the teams of all trainers by increasing the amount of Pokemon they have and add new species of Pokemon into their teams. To make this as easy as possible to understand, I have created a handy dandy slideshow depicting all the boss's new teams, as well as the new timeline for said battles. I probably should have mentioned these changes when talking about the relevant characters, but I digress. Certain slides will appear when relevant, the link to the presentation is in the description if you are interested in the additions I have made. When it comes to the amount of Pokemon in the boss's teams, it depends on the gym leaders for the most part. The first and second leaders will have 3 Pokemon, the third and fourth will have 4, the fifth and sixth will have 5, and the 7th and 8th will have 6. The Elite 4 members and champion have 6 Pokemon, which makes sense considering their status as the region's top trainers. The rivals and Team Flare scientists will generally have 1 less Pokemon than the next gym leader, being a peg lower than them. For example, when you fight Tierno between the 5th leader, Clement, and the 6th leader, Valerie, he'll have 4 Pokemon, and Valerie will have 5. The only exception to these rules are the first rival battle with Shauna after you get your starter, as Shauna is also a starting trainer, so she wouldn't have more than 1 Pokemon. Both battles with Sycamore, as he specifically uses the 3 Carlos starter Pokemon in both battles, and the 2 Lucario specific battles you have with Karina, as they both involve Karina's 2 Lucario. The second one is eventually given to the player. When it comes to the extra species given to the bosses, they make sense either because they are obtained by the counter later on, or they apply to the trainer's female typing if they are a specific specialist. Examples include, Karina now uses a Lucario in her official gym battle, which he doesn't do in the games for some reason. Trevor has been given a Watchog, which is good fit as Trevor's goal to find all Pokemon to complete the Pokedex works in tandem with Watchog's natural vigilance, which would be a useful tool for Trevor's goal. Every Team Flare trainer uses a Pyroar, which is a link to Lysander's Pyroar, which is deemed to be his most associated Pokemon. Xerosic uses some of the Pokemon he later gives to Emma in the post-game, as they were his. Lysander uses a Florges, which is a nice callback to AZ's companion Floette. Finally, all gym leaders, Viola and Grant only in the post-game, and Elite 4 members have been given Mega Pokemon, which makes the battles with them more challenging, and makes sense considering they're all as powerful, or more so, than Karina. As mentioned previously, I gave all gym leaders and Elite 4 members Mega Pokemon. In X and Y, only 5 trainers use Mega Pokemon. Considering it's the main gimmick of the games, it should have been given to more bosses. Sword and Shield did this right, but all gym leaders, Milo and Nessa in the post-game only, and Champion Cup participants use a Dynamax or Gigantamax Pokemon, minus Piers, Peony, Swordwood, and Shieldbird. Given the importance of Mega Pokemon not only increases the difficulty of the games, but emphasizes the importance of Mega Evolution in Carlos. Pokemon games aren't known for having the most interesting stories outside of Black and White, but with an improvement or two, X and Y's could reach a similar level of quality. The aforementioned increased appearances of aforementioned characters aside, having Lysander's Chinta villainy take place over the story would be much more interesting than having him be an uninteresting twist villain. A former friend of Lysander lives in Snowbell City and mentions Lysander's previous want to help all people before he became blinded by his desires for perfection. Having this turn happen over the turn of the story, with subtle indications of his changing views shown throughout his interactions with Diantha and Sycamore, would make the story more appealing whilst playing for the first time, as well as on repeat playthroughs. The models for the trainers and their Pokemon can look a bit dull and lifeless. A quick fix to make. Just increase the fluidity of the animations, maybe add a few more in as well to add a bit of pizzazz to the presentation. Many locales hold possible secrets to find, yet nothing comes of them. The Girl School Lumiose, the train station message, the power plant's locked doors are the 3 main examples. You could easily relate these to in-game events, or even to legendary events. The Ghost Girl could relate to Hooper due to its own ghostly form, the train station message could relate to the aforementioned Diancie being found in the Unknown Cave, possibly to the Anastar Sundial, and Volcanion could have been found in the power plant, being held hostage to make thermodynamic power. And here's our video input from our secret collaborator, F. And come back next time for another video. Stay our pace and bed build. Laters.